This is 8 Minutes of Awesome. I'm Jennifer Lipsky. Multiple sclerosis, also known as MS, is an inflammation of the nerves of the body, causing various and vast symptoms that can deeply disrupt a person's life. There is no known cause, and there's no known cure. But there are people who are putting their energies and efforts into wiping out this debilitating disease. And one of those people is Kevin Reid, who's joining me here today. Hey, Kevin.
Hello, hello.
Tell us a little bit about your own personal experience with MS.
Sure, yeah. Well, I was diagnosed in 2002 because I went blind in my right eye. So I went to the eye doctor and they did the tests and they came back and said, well, we hate to tell you this, but this is usually the first sign of onset of MS because the optic nerve is thick with the coating that MS destroys, which surrounds the nerve, and that's ultimately what causes the nerve damage. And so they did the tests and sure enough did the MRIs and there, lo and behold, I was a lucky winner of this diagnosis, and it's been a challenge, over the years. It has been quite a while. I'm currently basically losing my ability to walk, but and that's the main way it has shown up, other than the basic fatigue and the invisible symptoms that makes it so challenging, is because people can't see the problems a lot of times that goes on with this particular challenge. But that's been, really in a nutshell, and I've been dealing with the ongoing symptoms ever since. I've had, my whole left side went numb. My vision has since come back, but that's the nature of this also, is that it comes and goes. Sometimes the damage stays forever, but, the hope is that with research, we're figuring out how to fix this thing.
Yeah, so the symptoms can be variable from person to
hmm
person and at different times in your life, which
hmm
must be so challenging.
Well, it definitely is. Yeah, because that's one of the main problems, is that one day you feel pretty good, and then another day it's the opposite of good, and then everything in between. And so some days you're wondering, is this normal? Does everybody have these pains or these feelings? Not knowing if the color green that I see is the same color green that you see, kind of thing. Like, is this the way I feel? Is it because of this disease, or is it just because of being a human? We have these aches and pains anyway. So, but yeah, having the challenge of it being varied from issue to issue is a real challenge.
Mm.
Mhm.
When you have days that are more challenging than others, how do you stay strong through them?
Well, that's a good question. I really rely a lot on meditation, and even less official than that, just being present in the moment. Because there's times when it's like, I have to get 40 feet down the hallway, but I just need to take this one step first, and then the next step, and the next step. And I think that's a good metaphor for life in general, is, being in the present moment and dealing with the mess that's right in front of you, not thinking, four steps ahead, or how it's going to be then, but, staying focused in the present is a real, I think, a benefit to dealing with, issues when you have pain, and MS or not, just being a human. I think, we all have, things to deal with, and I think staying present is the first step in figuring out what to do. And so, yeah, staying in the moment, and also just trying to uh, rely on or experience friends, groups of people. This is another strong value of mine, is relationship, and how that can support the individual. We're much stronger as a group, and we solve problems better in groups. I think stronger than just one person can do. So another way I try to find strength and, moving through difficult times, is having a good support team and people around you that around me that know my issues and want to help, and I think then turning around and helping other people with what they're doing in their group or their relationship is kind of how I approach life in general.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure from that support group, you also draw some inspiration from them. And then are there other people or other sources from where you draw your inspiration?
Well, things that are more like inspiration from music and inspiration from beautiful art, or I'm in the wine industry, so I find inspiration in a wine bottle many times. Not overdoing it, but there's definitely and that's an art form as well. So I think finding inspiration from art, in however form that takes, is definitely somewhere that I, find support and inspiration in, the art world, and just finding the beauty in the small moments and the beauty in small things. It comes back to, being present in the moment for me. So
Yeah. And utilizing that kind of tapping into that creativity, utilizing that, certainly that's valuable in projects that we undertake. And I know that you have undertaken a really phenomenal project geared again at bringing forward information to people about MS and helping to, hopefully find a cause and a cure for this disease one day. So tell us about that.
sure, yeah, well, definitely finding a cure for it is really a motivation for something that I've put together. And because I'm in the wine industry, I actually grew up in Napa Valley here, and over the years, the wine industry it's always been around. And over the last few years working here, I I came up with this idea, and I met actually another woman who has MS, and she has a family winery as well. They're called Counterpunch Wines, and the two of us got together with our families collectively and said, well, what can we do, from what do we have to offer this particular challenge? Knowing that so many people have this and are dealing with this, what can we offer to try to help for the greater good? And so we came up with this idea, and I call it CrushMS. And basically, it's a network of wineries teaming up, dedicated to raising awareness and funds towards a world free of MS. And I'm actually partnering with the National MS Society and many wineries here in Napa. We're doing our first event this August, on August 2nd, here at my family winery. And we're going to get together, enjoy lots of wines from many different wineries, and basically just get together and have a good time. But we want to raise a glass and raise awareness. It's kind of like, how can we lend our talents and what we do to helping this greater good? So obviously, my family's interested in finding a cure for this, and obviously, I want to, fund research for this. And it came back to how can the wine industry help this? And I think there's not really a dedicated charitable organization specifically for MS research here in Napa Valley. And I figured, how can I partner with the organizations that already exist, the MS Society and others, and basically get together and say, well, we want to raise funds for research, because we know it's around the corner. Like we've gotten a lot of great news about stem cell research, and that's actually the biggest the optimism, the stem cell breakthroughs, and we can go into what they've found recently, but it's really exciting. And so Crush MS is, I want to get the wine industry, which honestly, there's a lot of money in the wine industry, but there's more importantly a lot of great people that want to help out with causes that are bigger than just, selling their wine, which is important. But I figured if we could get together and do this, it would be a really good thing.
Right, absolutely. And I guess, the wine industry is also not just limited to Napa Valley, it's also worldwide, so you'll be,
Absolutely.
being able
The
to connect
potential
with
is there.
people who have similar interests and also
Hmm.
hopefully the similar desire to get this information out there to make people more aware.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
What a great project. And,
Yeah.
I'd like you to share if there's a message, one particular message for others to hear right now from your heart, what would that message be?
I think specifically for people with MS, my message would be, and I guess this could go for every human, but you're not alone. Like we're in this together, and so many of us are experiencing an evolution of our culture and our consciousness. And a big part of that is a realization that we're more connected now than we've ever been. And when it's difficult, and this is another place that or another part of that, where do I find my inspiration, when things are hard, is that we're not doing this by ourselves. Like there's a lot of people around, even if they're not physically around, to remember that, and that we're not doing this on our own, even though some days when when we're struggling the most and we're by ourselves, it's very difficult to remember. But at the end of the day, we really are all in this together, even though that's kind of a cliche, but it's so true. And we're seeing this now with technology, and as that becomes more and more of our evolution as a species. We're more connected than ever, and we're not alone. And so I say, if I was going to say anything to somebody who's out there, um, you're not alone, and we're doing this together.
Powerful message, Kevin.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for those who would like to reach Kevin and learn more about Crush MS, you can find him on Facebook at CrushMS1. Kevin Reid, thank
Hmm.
you so much for joining us on 8 Minutes of Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm so glad we got to reconnect after Wisdom 2.0 is where we first met, and that is a perfect example of technology, of new technologies, old technologies coming together for the benefit of our species. And I'm so glad we've gotten to stay connected, and we're seeing the benefits of that connection.
Yeah, me too, Kevin.